Hey y'all, welcome back to At Home with Chef Jolie. And this episode is all about the holidays. We did the turkeys on the last episode. It's all about Christmas gumbo. But first, a cocktail. We are going to make some Jingle Juice to make your holidays merry. Let's get started. Okay, as I always say, a beautiful and fun shindig always starts with a cocktail. And for the holidays, we're doing some Jingle Juice. This will make your guests nice and merry. So we are going to start with a little orange cognac flavored liqueur. We're going to go into my handy dandy shaker with a few ounces. I think that's a few ounces. And then cranberry juice. The garnish for this one is gonna be frozen fresh cranberries. And you can get cranberries from any grocery store out there. My sister was telling me the other day she had never seen fresh cranberries, but they have them in any grocery store in the produce section, typically during the holidays. So I froze these. And we're just gonna pop a couple down in the bottom. And then I wanna show you how I got this cute festive garnish, this red and green sanding sugar on my champagne flute. I have here some simple syrup, and I know I've told y'all before, you just put equal parts sugar and water and you boil it, let it cool, and you got simple syrup. So I'm going around the edges into the simple syrup. And you can get this red and green and different color sanding sugars in the baking aisle at the regular grocery store. So I just said half green and half red, and that is it. And then I'll sometimes go just to make sure I get coverage all over the glass, just like that. And voila, pretty. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add my cranberries to this glass. In the shaker, we got cranberry juice, we got the orange cognac flavored liqueur, and then I'm just gonna shake it. Okay, and then we're gonna top it with sparkling wine or champagne, which I have over here. There we go. And look how pretty that is. The color is beautiful. Just imagine your guests coming over for Thanksgiving. Not Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, right? Imagine your guests coming over for Christmas and you greet them with a tray at the door with this beautiful cocktail. All right, let's open our champagne. And you know when you hear that pop, the party has officially started. Okay, let's see here. Woo! Party time. So we're gonna top it off with our, I think this is actually sparkling Prosecco. So anything with bubbles will work. Here we go. And then we will add that orange twist to complement that orange cognac liqueur. And you know, cranberries and orange are a perfect combination. Now this is the part of our cocktail segment that we call quality control. So let me see what we got here. That's so festively refreshing, delicious. So the recipe will be down in the description box. And now it is time to make this seafood gumbo. Let's go do it. Okay, y'all, I had to bring my Jingle Juice over here so I could have another sip before we get into this gumbo, okay? You know the holidays, it's all about having a little sip while you're cooking, so good, so good. Get the recipe. So gumbo. People are intimidated by making gumbo, and in my family, for the holidays, we do the whole traditional Thanksgiving turkey, but for Christmas, it's all about seafood and gumbo, and we may fry some fish, fry some chicken, and just have a non-traditional holiday feast. So I'm gonna give you my tips and tricks for making foolproof, delicious, amazing gumbo. So let's talk about these seafood gumbo ingredients. I know it looks like a lot, but trust me, when we get over to the stove and I start showing you how easy it is to put it all together, it will not be intimidating at all. So we have some cayenne pepper, we've got some minced garlic, and my secret, got 2 secret ingredients. I have some powder seafood boil. You know when you're doing a crab boil or a crawfish boil, that powder. I have the powder, and I use a little bit of the liquid seafood boil as well. Got crushed tomatoes, onions, we got green bell pepper, okra, and the roux is gonna consist of vegetable oil and flour. Some people use butter, but I feel like butter tends to burn quickly, and you don't want burned roux because that is the base of your gumbo, the roux. Then on this side, I have all my proteins. I have some smoked sausage, beef. Y'all know I don't do the pork, but if you do, you could do pork, you could do turkey, you could do chicken sausage. I have some shrimp. I got some boneless, skinless chicken breasts that we have cubed, and I also have some lump crab meat. How did I forget a dabadooya? We got a dabadooya too, and some chicken stock. So we're gonna move all these items over to the stove, get our roux going, get our gumbo finished, and you're gonna love this recipe, which is gonna be down in the description box. Let's head to the stove. Okay, we're over here at the stove, and I have my vegetable oil already heating here in the pot, and I'm gonna go in with my all-purpose flour, just like this, and it's about equal parts flour to oil to make your roux. And you just stir it, and you stir it, and you stir it some more. And you gotta make sure that it doesn't burn, because like I said, whatever flavor that your roux has is going to be the base of your gumbo. And you'll start to smell it, get a little bit of a popcorny type of smell, and then it'll go from this blonde color of a roux, and it'll start to look like peanut butter and pecans, and it'll get darker and darker as you go. Some people will make roux in the oven. I've not tried that before, so comment down below if you have a tip or a trick to make the perfect roux. I just do old school style, and I do it right on top of the stove. So it typically will take you at least 45 minutes, maybe even an hour to get your roux where it needs to go. But that's the hardest part about gumbo. I mean, aside from chopping and prepping, but when it comes to getting over to the stove, the roux is the hardest part. So I'm gonna swap places because I'm gonna show you what a former chef that I used to work with from New Orleans, how he showed me how he does his proteins for the gumbo. So I'm gonna swap out this pot, and then we're gonna do the proteins. I'm gonna let the roux keep cooking, and then we're gonna go from there. So let's swap out. I'm gonna move my gumbo pot to the back. I'm gonna bring up my saute pan, and I'm gonna put just a teeny bit of vegetable oil. So the first thing I'm gonna take is, you know I say preheat those pots. So this saute pan was preheating back there, and I'm gonna go in with some sausage here. And the reason I do the sausage first is because that fat and that flavor from the sausage is gonna release, and then I'm gonna sear my chicken, I'm gonna sear the shrimp, and it's gonna have all that flavor from the sausage. So similar to if you've seen some of my other episodes, which I hope y'all have been following along all season, when I'm making soups and stuff, I like to season and sear the meats before I just dump it into the broth of the soup. So we get a nice little sear on the sausage, and then I'll take the sausage out, reserve as much of that fat and oil from the sausage, and then I'll sear the chicken, okay? And then just have a little pot or a little container right next to your stove so that you can take each protein out. And they're just gonna sit to the side while we continue to brown our roux. Okay, so I got my chicken, and you can use boneless, skinless chicken thighs if you want to. And sometimes if I want to get really, really rustic, I will just throw in chicken wings. And when I do that, I'll pop them in the oven a little bit before I pop them in the gumbo. But today we're using the boneless, skinless chicken breast. Oil, y'all know I'm going in with the adabadooya. If you haven't gotten some adabadooya yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. 40% less sodium than the leading seasoned salt out there, but with all the flavor. So I'm gonna season up my chicken, and then I'm just going to sear it to lock in all that adabadooya and flavor. Okay, sit that over there. And you're not cooking it all the way through. You're just really getting that sear and that flavor. While that's going, I'm gonna do the same thing. A little bit of vegetable oil. I have just a teeny bit left, but there's still gonna be oil left in this pan, so that is okay. I'm gonna take some more adabadooya and just get a little coating on here, and we're gonna sear that too. So mix it all up. You know, like I always say, trust your gut and not the recipe, unless it's my grandmother's mac and cheese, and then you're gonna follow that recipe to the T. So if you don't like shrimp, you don't like crab, you could just do sausage and chicken gumbo. Just follow the same steps and just double up on your sausage and double up on your chicken. Okay, so now we want to pull the chicken out. Sit that to the side, and you can let it go a little bit longer. But I want to get to the nitty gritty and get to how it all comes together. Okay, still nice and hot. And I'm just gonna hit these shrimp real quick. Not gonna cook it all the way because it's gonna finish in the gumbo. Again, we're just getting the flavor in there. My roux is over here, still going. Turn it up just a little bit. And I'm not gonna put my shrimp with my chicken and sausage. I'm gonna put it separate because once the gumbo starts to boil, the shrimp are the last thing that I put in there because you don't wanna overcook the shrimp, and I throw in some okra. And I know what y'all saying, oh, I don't like okra, it's slimy. No, it ain't. It ain't if you do it right. And I'm gonna show you how to do it right, okay? Okay, I think that's pretty good. So we're gonna let this roux keep going, and then I'm gonna add the vegetables, add the chicken stock, add all the protein, and let it all come to a boil, drop it down to a simmer. I got my rice sitting on the sidelines, and we're gonna put it all together so that you can see, I wish you can taste, so that you can see what it looks like when it's all done, okay? Okay, I need y'all to look at the color of this beautiful chocolate roux. This is what you're looking for, and this is when you can stop stirring, okay? So at this point, I'm gonna put in my bell pepper. Go ahead and put all of those in there. And we're sauteing our bell pepper and our onions in the roux. And you want them to get kind of soft, not all the way translucent, because once we add the chicken stock and all the other vegetables, it's gonna keep boiling. So they'll get softer over time. So, you know, I always say it's layers and levels to this cooking thing. So layer your seasonings. Don't just throw it in at the end. You season as you go. You know, we already seasoned our proteins, so I'm gonna season our veggies with a little bit of adabadooya so they have flavor too. And you know, garlic is one of the last things you add whenever you're sauteing because you don't want the garlic to burn. So the peppers and onions, I would say about 7 minutes is what you wanna, ideally on medium-high heat, how long you wanna let those saute. Then at the end, you throw in your garlic, saute that about a minute or two. Then the next thing I do is go with my crushed tomatoes. And you can use diced tomatoes, crushed tomatoes. I like to use the crushed because I always have it on hand for when I'm making marinara or other items. So you got that in there. I've already added some Adabaduya. Next, I'm gonna add, and Lord Jesus, don't let me sneeze. Just fair warning. This seafood boil, be careful. It could make you sneeze a little bit. So adding that in, and again, it's the foundation. So if this roux tastes good and you love on this roux, your gumbo will be amazing. Okay, got all those spices and flavors cooking together. And next, I'm gonna add my chicken stock. And can you believe we're almost done? So I'm gonna pour it in like this. Try not to make a mess. And because you have all that flour and stuff in there, it's gonna take a second for it to all kind of come together. And I was talking with a really great friend of mine who was making gumbo last weekend. I'm not gonna call their name because they may or may not be in the room today. And let me just tell you, gumbo is like a soup consistency. It's not thick like a gravy or like etouffee. So that's what you're looking for, kind of a soup consistency. So that's gonna come to a boil. But before it does, I'm gonna finish my seasoning. A little bit of this liquid crab oil goes a long way. It's spicy and has good flavor. And I started doing this a few years ago because I love me a good crawfish boil, and all those flavors from the crawfish boil come from the vegetables that you put in there, and also comes from the powder seafood boil and the liquid seafood boil. And I was like, self, if it tastes that good in a crawfish boil, how would it taste in your gumbo? And the rest is history. So that's gonna come to a boil. And another way I get that deep seafood flavor is that I put in the lump crab. Now, once it all boils, you're not gonna see these giant pieces of lump crab in your seafood gumbo, but the flavor is going to be in every bite, every single bite. So all that comes to a boil. Then I add my chicken first, and I let my chicken cook in the gumbo for maybe 10 minutes or so, and then I add the sausage. But we're gonna add it all. We're gonna just pretend we're gonna add it all now. My mouth is already watering because I know how good it's gonna be. All that's gonna come up to a boil. You're gonna drop it down to a simmer, and I let my gumbo simmer for at least 30, 45 minutes so that all the flavors can come together and get so happy. This is a wonderful, non-traditional Christmas dish. So if you're looking for something other than turkey and ham and dressing to do for Christmas, I suggest my seafood gumbo recipe. So it's gonna come to a boil, and I'm going to show y'all how it's all done in just a second. Okay, the moment that we've all been waiting for, the reveal of the gumbo. I have my rice here. So I put my rice in this little glass bowl because I'm gonna do this little trick. And let's make sure that it doesn't fail in front of the people. Boom, there you go. There's the rice. And then we're going to take the gumbo. Ooh. Oh, this is gonna be so amazing. I can't wait till y'all try it. So please comment down below once you try this recipe and let me know how it works out for you. Like at the last, what y'all didn't see, the last 5 to 7 minutes, I threw in my shrimp, and then like the last 3 minutes, I threw in my okra. And a little surprise that I'll plate at the end. Go. Ooh. Oh, this is the perfect time of year for gumbo. To kick off gumbo season. See my shrimp in there? Doing a hungry, happy food dance. One more little spoonful for good measure. Okay. And I have in here, this is optional. You know, the price of crab done went up. So I just have just a little bit of a snow crab cluster. And one cluster feeds 2 people. So y'all, you know, you can make it work if you want to. There we go. And my garnish this week is green onion. I just think that the bite of green onion works really good with gumbo. Okay, it is time to taste it. And let me just wipe that part up. Okay, here we go. All that's missing is some hot sauce, but I'll add that later. It's hot. Let me get some of the chicken and sausage and the okra. It's hot. Don't burn your tongue. Perfect amount of heat. The smoked sausage, the rice. Ooh, child. That's so good. You want this recipe, y'all. So, I want you to remember to turn on your notifications. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And sharing is caring. Share these episodes with your friends. And thank you. Thank you so much for being at home with Chef Jolie. And we'll see you next time. Happy holidays.